You are listening to The Vocal Technologist. Spoken Tech for your ears.
Wow. If you feel like technology just went from, I don't know, fast forward to ludicrous speed in the last few weeks, you're definitely not alone. We're seeing things like fusion power plant permits being issued, massive compute deals getting signed off, stuff that honestly felt like pure sci-fi just a year ago.
It really is a moment of huge infrastructural change. And our job here is to kind of sift through all that information, all that activity, and pull out the key things you really need to know. We're looking at how things connect, from these tiny biological things challenging life itself, right up to big tech hardware bets, and even how companies engineer their own culture.
It's about spotting those threads, right? The ones connecting the lab bench to the C-suite. We've put together a pretty thorough analysis for you today. Maybe think of it as a vocal technologist special look covering three main areas. First, big tech moves, especially Apple's hardware plans. Second, we'll dive into the computational frontier. AI meets biology, energy, the works. And third, how the developer world, its culture and tools, is shifting. So let's jump right into Apple, because this first thing, this reported shift away from the Vision Pro's, let's say, high-end niche focus, is a pretty big surprise.
Yeah, it is. But if you think about Apple's core philosophy, they don't really do niche for long, do they? The Vision Pro, technically amazing, sure, but at $3,500, it was always going to be limited. So the thinking seems to be shifting towards something with mass appeal, like smart glasses, more like Meta's approach.
Right, and the push for smart glasses is because they see that as the potential iPhone successor.
Exactly. That seems to be the logic. The Vision Pro, with the battery pack, fully immersive, it just can't replace your phone. But smart glasses, lightweight, practical. That could be the path to keeping their mobile dominance going for another decade. Makes sense, strategically.
Okay, so shifting from future devices to current silicon, the M5 chip updates are landing. And the emphasis seems squarely on AI, right? We've got 10 GPU cores, 16 neural engine cores.
And that split CPU, 4 high performance, 6 efficiency cores. But the real kicker, I think, isn't just the core count. It's this new dedicated neural accelerator within each GPU core. That's the game changer.
Okay.
They're talking about boosting GPU-based AI tasks by, up to 400%, plus a decent 30% bump in regular GPU stuff, too.
400%. So what does that actually mean for someone using a new Mac? Faster
Yeah.
video edit.
Well, yes, but it's bigger than that. It feels like Apple's betting hard that the next wave of creative work needs powerful AI running locally. Think running complex generative AI stuff right inside Photoshop or Final Cut or even just, Pages without needing the cloud. They're baking serious on-device AI power in.
So pushing AI now, but also rethinking the Mac's physical form for the future. This rumored touchscreen MacBook Pro that feels like a huge U-turn from Steve Jobs' old stance.
It absolutely does. Expected, late 2026, early 2027, OLED screens, thinner design, M6 chips, ditching the notch for a hole punch. It suggests they're realizing the iPad Pro, even the fancy one, isn't quite cutting it as a full laptop replacement for everyone. People want both interfaces, maybe.
And we should probably expect a price bump with those OLED screens, I imagine.
Oh, almost certainly. Yeah, those components aren't cheap. Expect these future Pros to cost a fair bit more than today's models.
Okay, let's pivot from Apple's world to how tech's changing everyday commerce. Two interesting angles here: digital and physical automation. First up, Walmart linking up with ChatGPT.
Yeah, this is basically creating a new shopping channel right inside the chat. People are already using ChatGPT for gift ideas, comparing deals, right? Soon, apparently, you'll be able to just buy the Walmart item directly in the chat window. Closes the loop completely.
And OpenAI gets a cut, I assume.
That's the plan. They've said they'll charge a fee, probably small commission, on sales made through the chat. Turns the AI from just an info source into a sales platform.
Interesting. Meanwhile, on the physical side, DoorDash is teaming up with Waymo in Phoenix.
Right, taking the human driver out of the loop. Waymo's self-driving Jaguars are doing deliveries, starting with DashMart stuff. And the key bit for you, the customer, is how you get your order. You use the DoorDash app on your phone to unlock the Waymo's trunk when it arrives. Pretty seamless, digitally managed handoff.
Very slick. Okay, let's move into these computational frontiers, because the scale of the infrastructure being built for AI, it's kind of mind-boggling. That OpenAI deal with Broadcom, the sheer scale is...
Yeah.
Wow.
It's an absolutely massive bet. Multi-billion-dollar deal. We're talking about developing and deploying 10 gigawatts worth of custom AI chips and systems, over 4
That's
years.
gigawatts.
Yeah, and get this, that deal brings OpenAI's total committed compute capacity to 26 gigawatts already. Their target for 2033, 2.5 gigawatts.
That's city-level power consumption, basically, just for AI compute. Okay, so what's all this power actually doing in the lab? Google's got this C2S scale model. It came up with a new cancer treatment idea, and it was confirmed.
Yes, exactly. A 27 billion parameter model. And this is the really exciting part about scaling up AI in biology. It's not just speeding up existing research, it's actually generating brand new scientific hypotheses that humans hadn't thought of or couldn't model easily. It's moving from just validating ideas to actually discovering new paths forward. Could really accelerate new therapies.
And that ties into this race to build virtual human cells with AI, right?
Precisely. Biologists have been modeling cell processes manually for ages, but trying to put everything together into one dynamic virtual cell. It's just too complex. AI is really the only way to build these digital twins of cells, which could massively speed up drug discovery and understanding diseases.
And while that's happening here, China's focusing compute power on, well, simulating a brain. Tell us about this Darwin monkey.
Wukong. It's apparently the world's biggest brain-inspired supercomputer right now. Built to mimic a macaque's brain structure, over 2 billion artificial neurons, 100 billion synapses. It's got a dual purpose, really. One, it's a tool for neuroscience research, but two, they're quite open about it being a step towards artificial general intelligence, AGI.
Okay, from artificial life to, well, redefining actual life. This discovery of Sukunar Kiem Mirabile, it sounds like it really pushes the boundaries.
Oh, it's fascinating. Think of it as like life's minimum viable product. It is a cell, but it acts a lot like a virus, outsourcing most of its biological work to a host organism. And this is the crucial bit that makes it not just a virus, it still has the genes to make its own ribosomes and messenger RNA, basically the core machinery for making proteins. And it does all this with only about 238,000 DNA base pairs. Tiny.
So a living cell that's stripped down to the absolute essentials, outsourcing the rest. Does that change how we define life?
It definitely stretches the definition, shows that life can exist in this incredibly minimalist, almost parasitic way, relying heavily on its environment while just holding on to the bare minimum needed to replicate itself. Pretty wild.
Okay, shifting from life to energy and transport. Helion, the fusion company, just got permits for the next stage of their commercial plant in Washington. Is fusion power actually getting real?
It's looking more and more like it. They've hit those crucial 100 million degree plasma temperatures. They're now building the next phase, aiming to put electrons onto the grid before 2030. So yeah, it's moving from purely theoretical to actual commercial development, navigating regulations. It's genuinely happening.
That's huge.
Yeah.
And up in space, Starship V2 seems to have nailed its final flight before the next version.
Pretty much a perfect flight, yeah. Deployed the Starlink simulators, relit the Raptor engine in space, did the landing flip, soft splashdown, ticked all the boxes. Now V3 is coming, which is bigger, larger tanks. Upgraded Raptor 3 engines designed to carry the actual larger next-gen Starlink satellites. So good progress there, too.
Okay, let's switch gears to the people side of things. The culture, the developers building all this tech. It starts, interestingly, not with code, but with intentionally shaping a company's identity.
Right. And there's a great story from Meta's early days. Back in 2008, Andrew Bosworth ran their boot camp for new hires. And the key insight was he taught the culture not as it necessarily was, but as he wanted it to be. The lesson. When you're growing fast, onboarding isn't just training. It's your chance to define what new people believe the company stands for. You're basically programming the culture.
Engineering the culture.
Yeah.
And tied into that is this idea of title arbitrage, using job titles strategically.
Exactly. It's about using titles as a management lever to shift status and priorities. You might deflate titles to make things feel flatter, or maybe rename roles to change how people perceive their importance. It's a deliberate way to kind of tweak the internal status hierarchy and influence behavior without necessarily changing salaries or org charts directly.
Interesting. Okay, now on to the actual coding. We hear AI is a great assistant, but not a replacement. The Ghosty update story seems to confirm that. But LLMs are changing how APIs get designed through something called vibe coding.
Yeah, vibe coding is this idea. LLMs, when you ask them to solve a programming problem, they don't meticulously read documentation. They sort of infer what the API should be based on patterns in all the code they've seen. They guess based on the vibe.
Okay, so what does that mean if you're designing an app or a service?
Well, it pushes you towards making your APIs really obvious. Flatter, more descriptive, maybe less elegant or original. Because if you want an AI agent to easily figure out how to use your stuff to make it viable, you need to conform to common patterns. It might stifle some really innovative API designs, potentially.
But the tools for these AI agents are getting smarter too, like Claude skills.
Right. Claude skills are a clever way to make agents more efficient. Think of them as like specialized folders with instructions and tools for certain tasks. Claude only loads the skills it needs for a specific job, saving precious context window space. They're easy to share too, so people are predicting this could lead to a sort of Cambrian explosion of useful little agent capabilities.
And then there's Beads, tackling the agent memory problem for long tasks.
Yeah, Beads is basically a lightweight memory system for coding agents. It uses a graph structure, kind of like an internal issue tracker. It lets the agent break down big, complex tasks that might take multiple sessions, organize them into epics, and keep track of everything. Makes the agent feel much more capable on long-running projects.
Okay, finally, we can't ignore the geopolitical reality behind all this tech. The Dutch government stepping in to take over Nexperia, the chip maker owned by a Chinese firm. That's a big move.
It really is. And it shines a spotlight on just how sensitive the global chip supply chain is now. Apparently, U.S. officials had been warning the Dutch that the owner needed to go, or Nexperia could face being blacklisted from trading.
Even though the official Dutch reason was about protecting IP and preventing production moving to China.
Right. The Dutch minister cited evidence of that. But the underlying U.S. pressure, whether official or unofficial, really highlights this massive shift. Critical tech like chip manufacturing isn't just about business anymore. It's fundamentally about national security. And governments are clearly willing to use powerful, even obscure laws to maintain control.
So when you pull back and look at everything, the gigawatt compute deals, these minimalist life forms, engineering corporate culture, the geopolitics of chips, the connections are definitely there.
Absolutely. I think the big takeaway here is this incredible convergence. You've got computation scaling at this insane rate, and it's directly intersecting with and reshaping fundamental human systems, whether that's our biology through AI-driven discovery, how we organize ourselves in companies, or even the very process of creating new technology through code. The tools we're building are changing the game on every level.
The future isn't just happening. It's being actively designed, engineered by strategists, by coders, even by AI itself now. So maybe a final thought for you to chew on. Given that culture and onboarding can be engineered like we saw at Meta, what part of your own world, your team's culture, your personal workflow, maybe even how you interact with technology could benefit from being intentionally vibe-coded or rewritten to get a better outcome? Where are those connections for you?
That's our analysis for today. Thanks for lending us your focus. We'll talk again soon.
Spoken Tech, for your ears.